Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl Butler, and you're listening to the Mighty Mommies Quick and Dirty Tips podcast, which will help make your life as a parent a little bit easier and a lot more fun. Welcome! Today's episode is number 380, 6 tips to get your kids sleeping in their own bed, because as much as we love spending time with our kids, a good night's sleep alone in our beds is equally as important. One of parenting's most rewarding and delightful milestones is getting a child to sleep through the night. For some, it's easier than others, but for any sleep-deprived parent who finally catches a full night of rest, it's truly cause to celebrate. But what about the child who goes to sleep only to wander into your bedroom several hours later, stating that he just can't sleep in his own bed, and can he please get into bed with you? It might seem harmless to let him crawl under the covers. After all, it's only one night, and that means you can fall right back to sleep too. But then that one night turns into another, and soon you've developed a new habit and gained a new bedmate. Mighty Mommy has 6 tips to help get your child back into his own bed and sleeping independently. Tip number 1. Assess the reason. According to the National Sleep Foundation, newborns should sleep 12 to 18 hours out of every 24, as every new parent hopes. This amount is gradually reduced as kids get older. Toddlers under age 3 need 12 to 14 hours of sleep. Preschoolers need 11 to 13 hours, and school children, they need 10 to 11 hours per night. And our teens, they need about 9.25 hours of sleep each night to function best, but most teens don't get nearly that much. This information acts as an important gauge for your child who is getting up throughout the night, because not only is your sleep getting interrupted, so is his. And he may not be getting the healthy required amount that he needs. So start by asking yourself why he might be getting up and coming into your bed. Did you used to have a family bed? Is there a new situation happening in your household, such as a new baby or a parent who has a new job and isn't around as much? 2 of my kids suffered from chronic ear infections, so anytime they finished recuperating, they would want to come to my bedroom, even when they were feeling better, because they got used to me being with them so much during the middle of the night when they were in pain. Tip number 2, pick a start date. Once you make the commitment with yourself that enough is enough and you want to take your bed back, decide on when would be a good time to start. If your household is experiencing a hectic time due to toilet training, remodeling your kitchen, or starting at a new daycare, it probably isn't the best time to tackle getting your little guy or gal to sleep alone. This means you'll have an extra bedmate for a bit longer, but your goal of having him or her sleep in their own bed will go much more smoothly when you don't have chaotic distractions. And tip number 3, talk it up. Now that you're ready to begin, start talking about your new sleep expectations earlier in the day. That way, she'll know what to expect at bedtime. Spend a few moments in her bedroom at some point in the afternoon. Sit on her bed and comment that she's lucky to have such a pretty bed to sleep in. Annie, you have so many pretty flowers on your comforter, and your bed is so comfy. Best of all, it's all yours, and only you sleep in it. Be enthusiastic so she knows that this is a big deal. Now you can interject the new routine that is about to take place. You have your big girl bed, and Daddy and I have our bed. Starting tonight, we're going to help you stay in your own bed in your bedroom. Keep it simple, but introduce that a change is coming and that it's going to be a good thing for her. Judith Owens, MD, co-author of Take Charge of Your Child's Sleep, recommends easing the transition from sleep to wake and calm her fears with comforting objects such as stuffed animals, blankets, or even a nearby goldfish tank. Let there be another presence in the room that reassures your child, Dr. Judith Owens says. Tip number 4, start with baby steps. You may need to start with baby steps in order for this new transition to be as least stressful as possible. It may not be reasonable to demand that a child who's accustomed to sleeping in your bed suddenly stay in her own room all night long. So try making the separation more gradual. Sleep expert Professor James J. McKenna is recognized as the world's leading authority on mother-infant co-sleeping in relationship to breastfeeding and SIDS. McKenna says, some parents have told me that they've had their children sleep alongside their bed in a sleeping bag, or decide that they can have 15 minutes in your bed and then they go back to their own. The sleeping bag is the way I got my 2 co-sleepers to stay out of our bed and eventually get back to theirs. I kept it on the chaise lounge and told my son that if he did come into our bedroom, he would have to sleep in the sleeping bag beside our bed, not in the bed. Both my kids loved this and felt that they had the best of both worlds: access to mom and dad and a fun place to camp out. We didn't want it to be too much fun, however, so we limited this to only a couple of weeks while implementing the rest of our middle-of-the-night routine. Putting nightlights in the room can also make it not as scary. And some parents have had great success by also giving their kids a flashlight that they can keep close by to their beds. Dr. Owens suggests instead of simply telling your child not to get out of the bed, teach her how to fall back asleep. Tell them to stay in bed, close their eyes, and think about something fun, like what they want to do on their birthdays. Giving them something to think about is a great tool to help them fall back asleep. Tip number 5. Have a consistent middle-of-the-night plan. Like with any new habit, consistency is definitely key. So now that you're committed to seeing this through, create a plan in advance, like when you're awake and can think reasonably, rather than at 2 a.m. when your child pays you a visit. Your plan might be something like this. When your child enters your room in the middle of the night, get up, give her a hug, and walk her back to her room. Tuck her back under her covers. Pat her back for a few seconds. Tell her to think of something relaxing like playing in the yard with mommy and daddy, and tell her you'll see her in the morning for a yummy breakfast. Leave the room and go back to your own bed, alone. Be prepared, though, for resistance, crying, whining, and a deal-making from your child. This is when you need to stay strong and invest in this commitment. If she tries to come back after all of this, gently escort her back to bed and repeat what you've just done. If your child has been sleeping in your bed for weeks or months now, you'll have to expect that this is going to take some time. It took me over 3 weeks to get my daughter to sleep in her own bed throughout the night, and many nights were long and sleepless, but we stuck out, and finally she stayed put all night long. And tip number 6, praise progress the next morning. By nature, kids are people pleasers, especially when it comes to pleasing their parents. How did it go last night? If no progress was made, and it was the never-ending night that brought you both to tears, give a pleasant reminder at breakfast about the new rules and that you'll be trying again tonight. If any small gains were made, he stayed in his own bed for 10 minutes after you tucked him in again, praise him for his efforts and let him know how proud you are of him for this. Don't dwell on what he's not doing yet. Focus on any positive gain that he's made. Janie Peterson, author of The Sleep Fairy, suggests letting your child pick a small sleep treat from a grab bag in the morning or leave one under his pillow. This little incentive should only be used if he is actually making some progress, however. It may take more than one tactic to entice your child into his bed, but whatever you do, be consistent and don't fall back into the habit of letting your child back into your bed once you've invested all the time, energy, and effort to make it happen. Your reward will be that the entire family is going to get a healthy night's sleep. How have you helped your child stay in his own bed for the entire night? Share your thoughts in the comments section at quickanddirtytips.com/mighty-mommy. Post your ideas on the Mighty Mommy Facebook page, or you can email me at mommy@quickanddirtytips.com. And I hope you'll visit my family-friendly boards at pinterest.com/mightymommyqdt. Wishing all of you a very restful night's sleep, alone. Thanks for listening, and until next time, happy parenting.